Hi everyone, welcome back to Eleanor's restoration. The last video you seen me fit the lower half of this rear panel. I was really pleased with it. It's a really good fit. New metal to new metal, it's building and building, so there's less rust each stage I do. So really pleased with it. Still got a few things to do. I've still got some brackets to finish off, some chalking to finish off. I'll do that as I'm sort of carrying on. This video, what I'm going to do is get the rear valance fitted underneath. So I'm going to get the car spun round and we'll have a look at how that fits on. And as with the rest of the panels, it's heritage. Let's get the car spun round. With the car spun round in the jig, you can get a closer look at the underneath, what I've done to it, what state it's in, and where I progress from here. So yeah, let's take a closer look at what the underside looks like at the moment. Seeing so much new metal is fantastic from where I started with this car. So it's obviously now got the two new arches, the full boot floor, the full back, and you know the back end is nearly complete, which is great because I'm just bashing on with it now. This is what it looks like as it stands. Still work to do, don't get me wrong, but really pleased with the way it's going. Few bits and pieces to touch off here and there, but like I said, it's a thing I'll just chip away as I'm going through. I'm trying to do it methodically, and I'm trying to do it so that it's best for access, and you know, there's a certain order of doing things. For example, brackets, doing it now because you can't get access later, or doing it now because you need to do it to fill something. You know, it just there's a certain list and certain way to do it. So what have I done to the back end that I'll be working on today for the valance? I've sanded this flat because when we spot welded it left burrs in some areas, and obviously the valance sitting on it, which you'll see in a minute, has to be sitting flat so it can clamp flat, so it can be welded flat. This part here on the boot floor for some reason was bent up this way. Don't know the reasoning behind that, maybe somebody can tell me, but obviously the valance doesn't sit flat, so I've bent this flat to give it better contact. This part here, again, there's a couple of burrs, so it had to be sanded very flat, and it's all about preparation. So now I'm just going to put the camera down, line the panels up, and I'll show you what kind of fit I've got before I even look at clamping, welding, etc. And we can look at what goes where. Right, the valance obviously goes along the back here. There's two brackets, that are these here. Double plate, which gives extra strength to here, and it also holds it upright in place. You can see it's all spot welded here. You can buy separate parts of this, repair panels, but I found it easier just getting the whole one. So before I get rid of any stickers or any paint, I'm just going to line it up and show you where it goes, and we can have a look at some of the fits before anything's tacked or held by clamps. So this sits in this orientation here, and you have the opposite bracket for the opposite side, which sits on there. And finally you have the valance that sits on here, and lines up with the two brackets and the flange of the boot floor. With it just sitting loose, as you see me putting on just now, the holes line up good. This is a good flange round here. When it gets to here, it's not as good, so that'll need fettling one way or another, although when the metal's pulled tighter it might sit a bit better, but yeah, that'll need manipulated. All the way up here looks good. Contact with the boot floor all the way around is good, and the flange here, lift it up, is good. This all looks good. The holes where the bumpers go will line up where they will line up. And the other side can see the difference here. It's a lot better fit, but then it's off here. So slight fettling depending on the side, and it's good here as well. Preparation. The valance will be going on last. I'll be looking at both sides of the brackets first, and for the purpose of the camera I'll only focus on one side because it's the same on both sides. So here I am a few hours later, and I've done quite a bit of work off camera, to this side at least. I'm going to show you guys what I've done by doing it on the other side. So just very quickly, it's all been prepared, sanded, zinc primer, welded, seam sealer, and as you can see I've painted this because once the valance covers this and gets welded in place up here and here, this will be inaccessible and hidden away, so I want as much protection as I can under here. So I'm going to jump onto the other side now, and I'm just going to let the camera roll and show you how I got to this stage. few clamps and bolts holding it in place. I'm happy with most of the flange lines except for this part here. You can see there's a bit of flex here, and the same around here. Now I can't get into these two bits with the clamps to pull it tight with the boot floor, so what I'm going to do is apply a bit of pressure, put a tack on until I'm happy with it, then I can go ahead and do the plug welds. Right, a couple of tacks, which means I can now plug weld, get this sealed in. So that was spot weld along the flange where it meets the wheel arch here. All I need to do now is put some primer on and get the seam sealer in place. So now it's just a case of letting all the paint and everything else dry, and I can start then getting the rear valance on, attached to the boot floor, attached to the brackets, and once I'm happy with where it sits I can get it all spot welded. also off camera prepared the rear valance. So taking the paint off, zinc primer, and similar to what I've done with the boot floor, I've put some red flame red paint on the area that I can't get to once it's welded up. So I'm going to just let this paint dry, give it a few more coats, maybe give it a day or two, and then I'll come back and then I can get the rear valance on here. This is a few days later than the last footage you've seen. Just gave me a chance to get all this prepped and primed ready to be fitted. So zinc primer where the areas are hidden, paint in the enclosed areas in here, and just plain metal sanded back so that it can be spot welded. So I'm now at a stage now where I can get this offered up, get it clamped on, and when I'm happy with the fit I can get the spot welds done. You can never have too many clamps, and I guarantee this won't be enough. This is the bit you have to get right. If you're clamping it up and you see a bit you're not happy with, start again. Unclamp it, start again, because if there's one bit you're not going to get right, it's going to hinder you when you come to spot weld it, or it's going to not line up with the panel further down the line, so get it right. There we go, I'm happy with the fit. When I'm spot welding I'm always going to have to manoeuvre some clamps to get tighter fits. Some flanges have to be tighter. I've run out of clamps like I said. So yeah, I'll do that as I'm going. But I'll take you in on the camera and I'll give you a look at how things are lining up. Right, starting at this side, I'm really happy with the fitment here. So this gets spot welded along the top here. The inner flange here, again, really good seal, it gets spot welded all the way up here. Back seal, holes line up perfectly, it's even and flat all the way around. These will need a bit more power from the spot welder because there's 3 layers here. And round the other side again, another good seal here, and good fitment under here. So I need to manoeuvre some of the clamps as I'm working to get tighter seals. For example, where was it? In here. Get that a bit tighter for spot welding. You can see it moves in my hand there. But other than that, it's just a case of going round to the spot welder, getting it all welded up. Back on the time lapse, and let's get this welded in place for good. And here she is, spun the right way around, and another bit of new metal on. I love using the spot welder, there's something really satisfying about it, although it's very heavy and it's quite demanding getting into areas and lifting, and yeah. So yeah, we'll end that one there. That's another part of the puzzle done for the rear end. Join me again in the next video where I carry on from here. So thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!